At first, nothing dramatic happens. No confession, no sudden shift, no clear moment he can point to and say, "This is where it started." And yet, something begins to rearrange itself inside him, quietly, almost invisibly. Attraction does not announce its transformation into something deeper. It settles. It learns your rhythm. It gets used to the way you feel. A man rarely falls in love through intensity alone. Intensity excites him, yes, but it does not anchor him. What anchors him is something far more subtle. Emotional safety paired with a calm, grounded confidence that does not demand, chase, or prove. This is where attachment begins to grow without his conscious permission. He notices it in small ways. In how his nervous system relaxes around you. In how conversation stops feeling like performance and starts feeling like rest. In how silence with you doesn't threaten him, it steadies him. As Carl Jung said, the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. And the reaction that matters most is not excitement, but regulation. When a man feels emotionally safe, his defenses soften. He stops monitoring himself. He stops posturing. He stops needing to win. Your presence doesn't interrogate him or pull at him. It holds space. And space is where attachment quietly forms. What he doesn't realize yet is that safety does not come from reassurance or overgiving. It comes from your inner stability, from the fact that you are emotionally present without being emotionally dependent. You listen without absorbing. You care without dissolving. You are warm, but not porous. This balance creates something powerful, trust without pressure. In Jung's view, the unconscious recognizes truth long before the conscious mind does. And his unconscious begins to register something unusual. Being with you costs him nothing. No fear of inadequacy. No fear of being exposed. No fear of being consumed. That's when attraction begins to change its shape. He starts sharing more without planning to. He begins to check in emotionally without realizing why. He feels drawn back not because he's chasing you, but because his inner world feels quieter when you're near. This is not love yet, but it is the soil. And what grows from this soil does not grow fast, but it grows deep. In the next part, we'll explore how your emotional consistency, without pursuit or pressure, creates a sense of belonging that slowly binds him to you, long before he understands what's happening. This is only the beginning. What happens next is almost imperceptible. There is no internal declaration, no conscious decision. Instead, something begins to repeat itself inside him, and repetition is the language of attachment. He starts to expect you, not in a demanding way, not in a possessive way, but in the quiet rhythm of his inner world. Your presence becomes familiar, and familiarity, when paired with emotional steadiness, does something powerful to the male psyche. It lowers resistance. He doesn't brace himself before interacting with you. He doesn't prepare lines. He doesn't armor up. He arrives as he is. This is where emotional consistency becomes crucial. You are not warm one day and distant the next. You are not intense, then withdrawn to provoke reaction. You don't create uncertainty to feel chosen. Instead, you are predictable in the best way, calm, responsive, grounded in yourself. And paradoxically, this predictability does not bore him. It soothes him. Carl Jung believed that the psyche is always seeking balance. In his view, what feels safe allows the unconscious to relax its defenses. When your emotional presence is steady, his nervous system learns something new. Connection does not equal danger. That's when attachment begins to root. He starts to associate you with relief, with emotional neutrality turning into emotional refuge, with the feeling of being accepted without evaluation. And here is the key. You are not trying to be his peace. You are at peace. There is a profound difference. Men do not attach to women who fix them. They attach to women who do not require fixing, women whose inner confidence is quiet, embodied, and non-performative. Confidence that doesn't announce itself, doesn't compete, doesn't seek reassurance. Your life continues whether he is present or not. Your mood is not dependent on his attention. Your sense of worth is not negotiated through his behavior. This independence subtly rearranges his perception of you. He feels chosen, not obligated, welcomed, not responsible, desired, not demanded. And slowly, without naming it, he begins to invest emotionally, not because he fears losing you, but because being with you feels like home to his nervous system. Jung wrote that attachment forms when the unconscious finds a symbol of wholeness outside itself. And without realizing it, he begins to experience you not as excitement, but as coherence. This is the stage where he starts to miss you before you're gone, where your absence feels noticeable, not dramatic, where your presence feels necessary, not addictive. In the next part, we'll uncover how your emotional boundaries, especially what you don't do, make his feelings deepen beyond attraction, even while he still believes he's in control. The transformation has already begun. At this stage, something important shifts, not in him, but in how he experiences you. And it happens because of what you refuse to do. You don't pursue clarity when it isn't offered. You don't fill emotional gaps with explanations. You don't rush to secure his interest or define the connection. And this restraint is not strategy. It's self-trust. Most attraction collapses under the weight of urgency, the need to label, to reassure, to extract certainty before it has time to grow. But you do something different. You allow the bond to breathe. You allow ambiguity without anxiety. You allow him space to move toward you rather than feeling pulled. This is where emotional boundaries quietly deepen his attachment. A man becomes emotionally invested not when he is chased, but when he is allowed to choose. And your boundaries give him exactly that, choice without pressure. Carl Jung observed that what we resist consciously often pulls us unconsciously. When you don't demand emotional proof, his unconscious begins to supply it. He finds himself thinking about you not because you asked for more, but because nothing inside you is asking at all. Your confidence communicates something wordless. I am whole whether you stay or go. And that message destabilizes him in the most constructive way. He starts to wonder why you're not anxious, why you're not pushing, why you seem open, yet unavailable to emotional chaos. This creates contrast. He has known intensity before, fast, consuming, unstable. But with you, the connection feels clean, undramatic, real. And slowly, without noticing the moment it happens, he starts to lean in. He initiates more. He shares more. He becomes protective of the connection, not possessive, but careful. Jung believed that individuation, the process of becoming oneself, requires encountering someone who does not collapse into us. You remain yourself. You do not merge. You do not disappear into his emotional field. And because of that, he experiences you as someone to approach, not absorb. This is the quiet turning point. Attraction was about desire. Now attachment begins to form around respect. In the next part, we'll explore how your inner emotional containment, your ability to feel deeply without spilling, makes him emotionally bond before he understands why. He still thinks he's in control, but something deeper is already at work. This is where something rare happens. Not loud, not visible, but decisive. You feel deeply, but you don't spill. You don't unload emotions onto him. You don't use him as a container for your fears, doubts, or unresolved pain. You don't test the connection through emotional excess. Instead, you hold yourself. And this emotional containment does something profound to a man's inner world. He senses that you are emotionally available, yet not emotionally chaotic. You can speak honestly without collapsing. You can express vulnerability without asking to be rescued. You can be close without needing to fuse. This is the point where attachment quietly locks in. Carl Jung believed that maturity appears when a person can carry their own inner opposites without projecting them onto others. And that is exactly what you do. You don't make him responsible for your emotional regulation. You don't make love a place where he must manage you. So his nervous system relaxes even further. Around you, he doesn't feel burdened. He doesn't feel examined. He doesn't feel required to perform emotional labor he never agreed to. And because of that, something unexpected happens. He begins to open. Not dramatically, not all at once, but honestly. He shares things he doesn't usually share, thoughts he hasn't organized, feelings he didn't plan to reveal. Not because you pulled them out, but because your presence makes it safe for them to surface. This is where attraction crosses into attachment. Because now, you are no longer just someone he desires. You are someone who contains him without consuming him. You don't rush to fix his emotions. You don't interrupt his process. You allow pauses, silence, reflection. And in that space, he starts to feel something unfamiliar, emotional dignity. Jung wrote that love is not possession, but recognition. And what he feels with you is recognition without exposure. Seen, but not dissected. Understood, but not claimed. This is why he doesn't realize he's falling. There is no emotional spike to warn him, no drama to mark the shift. Just a growing sense that his inner world feels safer when you're part of it. He begins to associate you with emotional coherence, with steadiness, with the version of himself that feels more whole. In the next part, we'll explore how your ability to remain centered, even when he wavers, creates a bond that pulls him back again and again, long before he names it as love. He still thinks this is just comfort. But comfort, when it is rare, becomes attachment. This is the moment many women misinterpret, because nothing obvious happens. He doesn't suddenly confess. He doesn't dramatically change his behavior overnight. He simply returns, again and again, not because you asked, not because you reminded him, but because something inside him subtly recalibrated and now pulls him back toward you. This is the effect of your centered presence when he wavers. You don't react impulsively to his fluctuations. You don't punish distance with coldness. You don't chase closeness when it temporarily fades. You remain emotionally coherent. And this is deeply unsettling in a healthy way. Most men are used to relational cause and effect. Distance creates anxiety. Withdrawal triggers pursuit. Silence provokes explanation. But with you, the pattern breaks. When he pulls back, you don't collapse. When he hesitates, you don't overextend. When he becomes unsure, you don't rush to stabilize him. You stay grounded. Carl Jung believed that the psyche is drawn to what feels whole. When you do not fragment under emotional inconsistency, his unconscious begins to orient toward you as a stabilizing force. Not because you hold him, but because you hold yourself. And that is when attachment deepens. He begins to notice something strange. Even when he steps away, you remain intact. Even when contact lessens, you don't lose warmth or dignity. Even when uncertainty appears, you don't chase clarity. This creates a quiet respect, and respect is the gateway to emotional bonding. He starts to feel that being with you is a choice he wants to make, not a dynamic he controls. And this shifts the internal balance of power in a way he doesn't consciously track. He reaches out more intentionally. He becomes more careful with your connection. He feels responsible for maintaining something he now senses is valuable, not fragile, valuable. Jung spoke of the anima, the inner feminine image within a man that guides his emotional development. When a woman embodies emotional steadiness, she activates not fantasy, but maturation. He doesn't project illusion onto you. He grows toward you. And that growth is what binds him. This is why he doesn't feel hooked. He feels aligned. Your presence doesn't destabilize him. It organizes him. In the next part, we'll uncover how your self-respect, especially in moments where you could compromise but don't, cements emotional attachment at a subconscious level. He may still call it comfort, but comfort that doesn't disappear becomes something he doesn't want to lose. This is where attachment stops being emotional and becomes structural, not built on feeling, but on orientation. Because now, he begins to notice something that doesn't fluctuate: your self-respect. You don't negotiate your values to preserve closeness. You don't soften your standards to avoid tension. You don't betray yourself to maintain harmony. And this is crucial because many men confuse flexibility with depth until they meet a woman who is warm and immovable where it matters. You don't dramatize your limits. You don't explain them excessively. You simply live them. And this quiet consistency teaches him how to treat you without instruction. Carl Jung believed that the psyche organizes itself around what is stable. When you refuse to abandon yourself, even subtly, his unconscious registers you as someone real, someone grounded, someone with an inner center. This is when attachment becomes subconscious. He notices it when he chooses his words more carefully, when he thinks twice before canceling, when he feels a slight inner tension at the idea of disappointing you, not out of fear, but respect. You don't punish misalignment. You don't threaten withdrawal. You simply do not move closer to what does not meet you. And that creates a powerful internal recalibration for him. Because now, closeness feels earned, not through effort alone, but through integrity. He senses that access to you requires presence, not performance. Consistency, not charm. And this awakens something deeper than desire: responsibility. Jung wrote that love matures when projection fades. And with you, there is nothing to project onto. You are not fantasy, not illusion, not a role. You are a person who exists fully, with or without him. This is where he becomes attached without realizing why. Your approval is not something he can win. Your affection is not something he can manage. Your presence is not something he can assume. And yet, you are kind, open, human. This combination is rare. So something inside him settles into a new posture. I don't want to lose this. Not urgently, not possessively, but deeply. In the next part, we'll explore how this quiet sense of emotional responsibility slowly turns into commitment energy before he ever uses the word love. He still believes he's choosing freely, and he is. He just doesn't yet realize what he's choosing toward. At this point, something has already crossed a threshold inside him, quietly, irreversibly. What began as comfort has reorganized itself into orientation. He doesn't just enjoy your presence anymore. He accounts for it. Not consciously, not strategically, but instinctively. He starts making decisions with you in mind before he realizes he's doing it. His schedule bends slightly. His priorities rearrange themselves. Not because you demanded space, but because his inner world has already made room. This is where responsibility becomes choice. Carl Jung spoke of the psyche's natural movement toward individuation, toward coherence. And here, attachment no longer feels emotional to him. It feels right. Like alignment rather than desire. He doesn't feel trapped. He feels clearer. And this clarity is dangerous for the old version of him. The one who avoided depth, postponed decisions, stayed undefined. Because with you, vagueness begins to feel dishonest. Your consistency has made inconsistency visible. You don't ask him where this is going. You don't pressure him to define anything. But your presence silently asks a deeper question. Who are you when you're with me? And he feels it. He notices that half effort feels out of place. That showing up halfway creates internal friction. Because your emotional integrity has become a mirror, and mirrors demand truth. Jung believed that the unconscious seeks wholeness and resists fragmentation. With you, he cannot split himself into versions. He must either arrive fully or not at all. This is when he begins to choose. He chooses presence over distraction, consistency over spontaneity, depth over ambiguity. Not perfectly, not all at once, but sincerely. And what he doesn't realize is that this choosing, repeated, quiet, unforced, is already commitment in its earliest form. He may not call it love, but love is not the word. Love is the behavior that emerges when something matters. In the next part, we'll explore how his identity begins to subtly reshape itself around the bond, and why that makes attachment self-reinforcing, even if fear appears. He still believes he's simply involved, but involvement has already become orientation. By now, the shift is no longer only emotional. It's internal, structural, identity level. He doesn't feel different in a dramatic way, but he behaves differently. And behavior, as Jung understood, is the most honest language of the unconscious. He starts to recognize himself more when he's with you. Not the performative version, not the guarded one, but the self that feels coherent, aligned, less fragmented. And this is where attachment becomes self-reinforcing, because the psyche protects what supports its integrity. Carl Jung wrote that the ego resists what threatens it, but gravitates toward what helps it become whole. Your presence doesn't challenge his identity, it organizes it. Around you, he doesn't feel smaller or weaker. He feels more himself. That realization is subtle, but powerful. He begins to associate you not just with comfort, but with self-respect, with a version of himself that shows up better, listens more, chooses more consciously. And once a man links a woman to his better self, detachment becomes psychologically costly. This is why even when fear appears, fear of commitment, fear of loss, fear of depth, it doesn't push him away in the same way. Fear no longer feels like a warning. It feels like resistance to growth. You are not fighting his fear. You are outgrowing it. You don't demand certainty to stay. You don't chase reassurance to feel safe. You remain rooted in yourself. And this leaves him with a quiet realization he may never say out loud. Walking away from her would mean walking away from a part of myself I respect. That is attachment at its deepest level. Not dependency, not obsession, but identification. In Jung's terms, you have become part of his inner landscape, not as fantasy, but as symbol. A symbol of stability, depth, and emotional truth. And symbols are not easily replaced. In the final part, we'll bring everything together. How emotional safety, inner confidence, and self-respect create a bond that turns attraction into love before he ever realizes it. And why this kind of love lasts. You didn't persuade him. You didn't convince him. You became someone his psyche could not ignore. And that changes everything. By now, love has already entered the room, but quietly. No ceremony, no declaration, no dramatic emotional surge. It arrives the way truth often does, unnoticed at first, undeniable later. He still hasn't decided to fall in love. And that is precisely why it's happening. Because what he feels no longer depends on mood, chemistry, or circumstance. It has settled into something deeper: orientation, loyalty, emotional gravity. You are no longer an experience. You are a reference point. He measures things against you without realizing it. What feels meaningful? What feels empty? What feels aligned or not? Carl Jung believed that love becomes real when projection dissolves and reality remains. And with you, there is no illusion left to sustain desire. Only presence, only truth, only the quiet recognition of something that works at a soul level. He notices it in moments that seem insignificant. When something good happens, and you're the first person he wants to tell. When something unsettles him, and he imagines how you would see it. When distance appears, and instead of relief, he feels a subtle dissonance. This is love before language. Not obsession, not dependency, but attachment rooted in meaning. And here's the paradox. The safer he feels with you, the deeper the bond becomes. Not because safety is boring, but because safety allows depth to stay. You never tried to hold him. You never tried to secure the outcome. You never tried to control the pace. You simply remained yourself. And in doing so, you allowed his psyche to arrive at love on its own terms, which is the only way love lasts. In the final part, we'll close this journey by revealing why this kind of love is stable, enduring, and resistant to fear, and how you can recognize it when it's already there, even before words are spoken. You didn't make him fall. You made it possible for him to stay. And that is the rarest form of love. By the time love reaches this stage, it no longer needs proof. It no longer needs reassurance. It no longer needs to be spoken to be real. This is where many women doubt themselves, because they expect love to arrive loudly, through declarations, urgency, or dramatic shifts. But this kind of love arrives differently. It arrives as steadiness. He doesn't disappear when things deepen. He doesn't pull away when emotions stabilize. He doesn't sabotage closeness to feel in control. Instead, he remains. Love, in its mature form, is revealed not by intensity, but by continuity. You see it in his consistency when nothing is being asked, in his presence when there is nothing to gain, in his attention when there is no emotional pressure. Carl Jung believed that the deepest bonds form when the unconscious no longer needs to defend itself. And this is exactly what has happened. His psyche is no longer protecting itself from you. It has integrated you. He doesn't feel overwhelmed by closeness. He doesn't feel trapped by intimacy. He doesn't feel threatened by your independence. Your inner confidence has done something rare. It has made love feel safe for him to stay in. And you recognize it not by words, but by how little effort it takes to remain connected. Conversations flow. Silence doesn't rupture. Distance doesn't destabilize. There is no emotional bargaining, no push and pull, only presence. This is when you know attraction has become attachment, and attachment has become love. Not because he declared it, but because his behavior no longer questions it. Jung said that when individuation occurs, love becomes an extension of selfhood, not a replacement for it. And this is what you have created, not by trying, but by being. You did not persuade him. You did not wait anxiously. You did not abandon yourself to be chosen. You stayed rooted, calm, whole, and love found you there. This is not the love that burns fast. It is the love that remains. And if you felt something awaken as you listened, quiet recognition, not excitement, it's because part of you already knew this truth. Real love doesn't arrive like a storm. It arrives like home,